What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA. I'm your host at Scotty Drown. You can find me on Twitter at Scotty Drown. The show is presented to you by DSM Media. You can find DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_media. You can find us on TikTok as well at DSM Media. And of course, I'm here with my co-host, Slim. You can find him at RTR30111. And you can also be sure to check out his To the Galaxy pod, where he covers most of the NBA as well as focusing in on the Warriors from his perspective. Be sure to give him a subscription. That link will be in the description of our video here today. So be sure to click on that, give him a subscription, and like the video here, guys. But Slim, how you doing, my man, on this fine Friday? Happy to have you here, brother.
Doing good, man. Ready to talk some hoop, dive into some things. A lot has transpired, man. A lot has
Absolutely.
happened. Ready to get into it, though.
We got a lot of funny stuff to talk about, for real, just aside from hoops. But it's part of hoops, but it's just really funny. It's not as serious as we usually are. But we're going to get into last night's action. We had two games last night. The Heat taking on the Nets. And then we had your Golden State Warriors taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. After that, we're going to get into Draymond's 5-game suspension for the chokehold on Rudy Gobert. After that, we'll get into some Clippers talk with James Harden, some Sixers talk. They've lost 2 straight. And then we'll finish out with a rookie check-in, take a look at some of the rookies around the league, and make our game picks for Friday night. We got a big slate tonight, so a lot to get through here. Let's start at the top with the Heat and the Nets. We had a 122-115 win for the Miami Heat. They moved to 8-4. Brooklyn Nets moved to 6-6. Top scorer for the Brooklyn Nets was Mikal Bridges with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Jimmy Butler, 36 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And then Duncan Robinson chipping in with 6 threes and 26 points. What have you been seeing from the Miami Heat lately? They're actually playing some really good ball. Brooklyn Nets 6-6, so they're kind of keeping themselves afloat there. But anything particular you took away from this game?
I would have to say Duncan Robinson. These last 5 games, he's been phenomenal. Like, you go back to the bubble, he's playing like that version of himself. And for this Heat team, that's what they need. They need him to have that irrational confidence, firing on all cylinders for them to be a successful team. Yep. And also, Jamie Harden, they drafted him. He's been amazing. He's been closing games for them. He's been spectacular. He's the perfect guy for them with the way they like to operate and do things. And Bam, he's been phenomenal these past 7 games, averaging like 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. But yeah, those 3 guys to me has been the names I've been keeping an eye on. You know what you're going to get from Jimmy. And when Tyler healthy, you know what you're going to get from him as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was a good overall cover because you mentioned a couple of different guys that I think is key for the Miami Heat here. Obviously, Bam Adebayo, always like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but it feels like he's starting to put it together really as a consistent scorer and an offensive playmaker as well. You look at Duncan Robinson, you lose Max Strus, you lose Gabe Vincent. You need some 3-point shooting for somewhere, right? Max Strus was the guy that kind of came in and took Duncan Robinson's spot. Duncan gets it back and is taking advantage of it. And then you mentioned the rookie. That's one of the guys that we'll talk about later. But like you said, just a perfect fit on this Miami Heat team. And I really like the way he fits there. And then obviously Jimmy, like you said, always going to do his part. What about the Brooklyn Nets, though? So you got Mikal Bridges, he's the guy, right? But then you have Cam Thomas, who's kind of coming on the scene this season. Don't think he played in this game. Says he wasn't with the team, actually, from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I think he had an injury.
Okay, so it wasn't like a disciplinary type of thing. It was just like him not with the team due to injury. I got you. So he didn't play in this game, obviously. Mikal Bridges leads the way there. You have Lonnie Walker off the bench. What do you think? I guess this is a better question. What do you think of this Brooklyn Nets team? Like, is this a Eastern Conference playoff team to you? What are they?
Well, at first, I kind of thought that, but I have to see a lot from him. I still have to see, him get back to his all-star ways and things like that. But they still have a lot to figure out as well. They have a
Yeah.
lot of bucket getters on this team. You know, Lonnie Walker, Cam Thomas, a lot of versatile defenders. Royce O'Neal, Dinwiddie, Claxton. So they still got lot to figure out. I don't really think they're a playoff team at the moment, but it's still a whole season to go. You know, who knows? They may be a play-in
Yeah.
team. You know, who
Yeah,
knows?
no, I feel that honestly. A play-in team that makes a lot of sense to me because I mean, you got Cam Thomas right now, which is giving you when he's played, he's giving you basically 27 points, about 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So he's just scoring the rock, right? He's
Yeah,
shooting 48% from the field, 32% from the three. So those aren't bad. Want to see the 3-point percentage come up a little bit, but him plus Mikal Bridges plus Cam Johnson that gives you a pretty solid scoring trio. And then you throw in little guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, DFS, Dorial Finney-Smith, Lonnie Walker, down the line, like you said, Royce O'Neal, all guys that can truly play in the league. And then Nick Claxton, of course, giving him some credit as well. He's definitely improved over the last couple of years. So they got like a solid all-around team. I just don't know if they have like enough top level talent, and that's kind of what they're playing like right now. 6-6, it's kind of like right in the middle, an average team. So it kind of makes sense there with them. So the Heat come away with a big win at home against the Brooklyn Nets. They continue their hot streak, their good play, and let's move to the Oklahoma City Thunder, man, coming to Golden State to take on your Warriors. This one. Was not pretty for the Warriors down the stretch. Really wasn't pretty overall, right? Throughout the game, this one just really wasn't pretty. Oklahoma City Thunder win 128-109 in Golden State. Warriors moved to 6-7. They're now below 500, and OKC moves to 8-4. You had SGA in this game, 24.7 assists. Isaiah Joe, 23.7 for 7 for the
man.
three-point line.
Oh my god,
That's ridiculous. And then on the other side, you got your leaders there. CP3, 15 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds. And I believe Jonathan Kuminga also had 15 points in this game as well. What are your thoughts? I'm going to ask it from you raw right here. What are your thoughts, not only on this game, but what you saw last night, but the Warriors as a whole right now, and kind of moving into that Draymond conversation that we got to get to?
Well, I had to say it's been confusing and frustrating. Like from a lineup standpoint, like Steve Kerr, I don't know what is he doing. Like we playing Corey Joseph, Chris Paul, and our rookie Paz at the same time. It's 3
Yeah.
guards, so I don't understand like that. And then also like Wiggs and Clay. Like I don't know. I just think something really wrong with Wiggs. Like the way
Yeah.
he's shooting the ball is flat, and you know he don't really
Yeah.
normally miss the way he has been missing. And with Clay, it's like I don't know if his contract situation on his mind or what's really going on, but
1 for
it's a
10
lot.
last night.
Yeah, 1 to 10. They've been both of them really been struggling. But Wiggs has been locking up on defense, but offense he really hasn't been providing anything. So it's a lot we still got to figure out, honestly.
Now
And
let me ask you this. Where would you like this rotation to like stop? Like who on the bench, where would you like it to stop? Because this is a lot of players playing. Now, I'm sure some of these guys came in at the end of the game once it was officially decided. So a lot of garbage time here. But who are the guys that you feel need to be in the rotation, even when Steph, Draymond come back?
Okay, so say CP3, Dario, Moody, Kaminga, GP2, and a mixture of Paz and Trace.
Trace
Those
Jackson.
3
Yes.
guys.
Okay, I got you. So the 2 rookies, a mixture of them, a little bit of Looney. I'm sure he'll stay in the rotation as well.
Yeah, Loon, he'll stay on there.
So man, and I guess let's talk about Draymond, man, because you can't talk about the Warriors last night without talking about it. Like he's suspended for 5 games. He goes through the chokehold, choking Rudy Gobert out. I swear, bro, was about to go to sleep on the court, man. I need your thoughts on Draymond, not only the situation with Rudy Gobert, because I know you got a lot of like back history as a Warriors fan with that relationship or those interactions between Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green. That's kind of been building up in your eyes, you said. just thoughts on that situation, but then also Draymond's decision to do that, knowing that his reputation, the things that could come consequence-wise, a 5-game suspension in a spot where you truly can't afford it with Steph Curry out right now. So, like, what are your thoughts on this whole situation with Draymond? Starting from when he actually goes and puts his arm around Rudy Gobert's neck, man.
Well, like to a certain extent, I could see where Draymond was coming from because in this day and time, if your teammate's getting into it with another teammate, you should just grab your teammate. You shouldn't be grabbing my teammate. So I can see where he's coming from. Rudy. It's an angle of a video. Rudy was about to put his arm around Klay neck, and then before he really could do that, Draymond came out of nowhere and did it to him. But honestly, like I mentioned earlier, Draymond and Rudy, this beef go way back. Like Draymond just don't like this guy. Like he really feel like Rudy took like 3 of his Defense Player of the Year awards. He think he's soft, things like that. They just don't like each other. You go back to the punch when Draymond punched Jordan. Rudy made a post on Twitter said insecurity is always loud. And then when Rudy Gobert punched Kyle Anderson earlier this year, Draymond came out and said the same thing. So it's just a lot of beef between them. A lot of things going on, man.
A lot of trolling in there.
But I don't think Draymond really just thought he just did it because that's unacceptable though. Like you mentioned his reputation. Like you should have you gotta know better than this, bro. Like they're not going to be easy with you. So that's why you got the 5-game suspension. Steve Kerr came out yesterday and was like he overdid it, in which he did.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. It got a little out of hand. And maybe it's just one of those things, if it's not Gobert, he probably doesn't put his arm around his neck and do all of that, right? Like that instant reaction, that animosity probably isn't there as much. Like, for example, like if LeBron does that to Klay Thompson, he's not grabbing LeBron by the neck. You know what I mean? They're boys. Like they get along. But, Pat Bev talked about it on his podcast, and he mentioned that nobody likes Rudy Gobert around the league in reality. Like, even people on the team that are his teammates don't really like him that much from his, character standpoint. So it doesn't surprise me that, the teams that he's played against in the playoffs and guys that he's played against in the playoffs probably fucking hate him. So you could see it in Draymond's face while he has him in the chokehold that he was fierce with it, right? He was being aggressive with it. He had a pretty crazy face on. So he really got into it. But now you're without Draymond. Now you're without Steph Curry for however long Steph needs to get his knee right and get back on the court. And then you have, Draymond missing as well. Klay's not playing his best basketball. Andrew Wiggins not playing his best basketball. Kuminga, Moody trying to find their places on the team. You got rookies trying to find their places on the team. CP3 trying to figure out his role for the team, right? So a lot of moving pieces, and now you add 2 more, which are supposed to be your cornerstones. You know what I mean? Steph is your cornerstone. He's obviously top 5, top 3 player in the NBA right now in the world. And then Draymond Green is just that leader, that defensive presence that you guys are always lacking. So, like, what does this mean for the Warriors within these next 4 games at least without Draymond? Like, do you see them being able to win any of these games? Or is this like a panic moment for the Warriors?
It's honestly a mixture of both. If Klay and Wiggs, if they can't provide us anything, then we should definitely panic for sure.
We got to get it going,
yeah, we got to get it going. Like it's just like last season, like we couldn't win a game on the road. It's like it's the opposite. Like we
now you can't win at home.
Yeah, now we can't win at home. Like it's just kind of confusing. But like I said, it's a mixture of both. I feel like the young guys are taking advantage of this opportunity more so than anything. Like Jonathan Kuminga, him being able to start and show his full ability with consistent minutes and things like that. So,
yeah. I think that's a good point because you get to get some of those moving pieces more minutes than they can figure out themselves just in the NBA alone. Then once Steph comes back, adding Steph back to the picture shouldn't make things harder, right? It should only make things easier. So I think that is a good way to look at it. And Draymond, he'll learn from this, hopefully, right? You would think he learns over the years, but he'll learn from this just as far as like the spot in which he did it, when it wasn't really uncalled for, And he got it out of his chest, right? Like he got it out the way. He got him choked up. He took control of Rudy Gobert, made him look helpless. So you don't need any more beef with Rudy Gobert. You can kind of move on from it. They won't move on. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be it's going to be very testy when these two teams square up going forward. But nonetheless, move on from the antics is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, right.
The antics that get you kicked out of the game. That's what you don't want.
Draymond been on one this past weekend, man. He got into it with Donovan Mitchell and man, now Rudy
and Edwards too. Yeah, I remember that, man. And these are guys like
the playoff series, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm really trying to see. I'm trying to see that playoff series, man, between the Timberwolves and the Warriors. I need that because it started with Jaden McDaniels and Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? Draymond wasn't originally in it. Rudy Gobert wasn't originally in it. So it's not like it's just Gobert and Rudy. It's across the board. These guys don't really like each other that much. And it's good for basketball, man. Yeah, Panic meter. Panic meter 1 through 10. Where are you at with the Warriors? Are you panicking at all? 1, you're not. 10, you're panicking all the way. It's time to do something drastic.
I'm at a 6.5, close to a 7. I mean, like I said, Steve Kerr, his lineups are just making my head hurt, bro. Like I can't watch these games and function right. Just seeing 4 guards out there with 1 big man, I just can't do it. And then like I knew Isaiah Joe was a shooter. But for him to go 7 of 7 on this just ruined my night, bro. Like what's going on here?
Hey, let me tell you this. It ruined my night too, because he used to be a 76er, and we're sitting here looking at the 76ers roster looking for shooting, looking for 3-point shooters. So we could use Isaiah Joe, who we believe this or not, man. The Sixers cut Isaiah Joe so that they could sign Dwayne Dedmon.
Wow.
Dwayne Dedmon. Because Isaiah Joe, they would have kept him on the Delaware Blue Coats, right? The G League squad. He wouldn't have made it there. He's ready to play in the NBA. He's a shooter. Everybody needs shooting. So it was a dumb move on our part, to say the least.
He know his role. Like he come in the game just to shoot, nothing else.
Yeah, straight up. I watched him, honestly, bro. I went to this thing called the Rump Classic in Philly last year, and I watched him, Tyrese Maxey, Marcus Morris' brother. I can't remember. Marquise Morris. The other Morris twin. Watched all of these guys hoop together in this Rump Classic tournament, and Isaiah Joe and Tyrese Maxey were lighting that building up, man. It was actually crazy to watch in person. So he does have one of the cleanest strokes probably in the NBA, for real. He probably has one of the quickest triggers and cleanest strokes in the NBA, man. So OKC, tough team, right? Like, obviously you guys are down more than a few guys right now in Steph and Draymond. Those are huge losses. But as far as what you saw from OKC and so far this season, what are your thoughts with them, man?
Like you mentioned, like they're a tough team. I think this is their time. Like they got all the pieces that complement each other. Josh Giddey, Dort, Chet, SGA, Jalen Williams, and Isaiah Joe. I like this rookie they got, Kassan Wallace. Those guys are phenomenal. So they just been great.
2 for 2 from the 3 last night off the bench for Kassan Wallace, 10 points. Yeah, they're very balanced. I mean, the bench, you got a couple different guys scoring 5-6 points. Got 6 guys in double figures across the team. SGA didn't even have like a great shooting night. He still puts up 24, but he has like the help around him to still go out there and get that W. And then, of course, Chet Holmgren, man, he's been doing very well. Limited shots, but 13 and 10, double-doubles. Yeah. So, OKC, they look deep, man. They're 8-4 right now, so they're in the playoff picture. And I believe you had them in your Western Conference predictions, right, for the playoffs.
Yeah, I got them in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah. So I'm interested.
Then they're only going to get better. They have a lot of draft picks and a lot of cap space. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering with OKC. Like, how long do you kind of play around with the draft picks and take in the young talent before you go ahead and trade some of those draft picks for another superstar to go next to all of these guys? Like, they have so many draft picks that they probably don't even have to give up, too many pieces to bring in like another superstar. They could give up a lot of draft compensation and maybe one player, right, just to make like
Right.
salaries work. So they
Yeah.
got a very bright future, but the
And they're gonna
Warriors,
have to.
gotta get it going, man.
Yeah, they're gonna have to eventually start paying those guys as well too.
That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Because you got guys like what, Josh
Isaiah
Giddey,
Joe.
Isaiah Joe, got a couple different guys on here that they're gonna have to end up paying here soon. Yeah, Lou Dort already got paid. Yeah, so I mean, bright future, but you're right. They are gonna have to pay some guys. SGA, he got a super max already, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like a few
Yeah,
years
they
ago.
already locked him up, so they don't have to worry
Him and
about
Dort.
that. Yeah. And I think Dort, I believe I read about that. That was just more or less because they just had to spend like money in the offseason. Like
Oh,
they
so
couldn't
like
just keep all
yeah,
that money. There's like a
yeah,
certain
like the
amount.
Rocket situation, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You had to spend some money. So we'll see what goes down with the OKC the rest of the season. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on them, and of course the Warriors. Man, we'll have our eyes locked on them as we continue throughout the season. I want to move towards the LA Clippers. Man, that situation out there with James Harden. So we had a little bit of news, kind of break out today. It was kind of one of those situations where it was only a matter of time, I feel like. But Russell Westbrook comes out, they make it known that he went to the coach, general manager, whoever makes the rotations, right? Tells them, hey, bring me off the bench. Let these guys get it going in the starting unit. I'll be that spark off the bench. You hear that Bones Highland is no longer going to be included in the rotation. So don't know if they're going to try to move him or something for another piece. But it appears he is out of the rotation. You have the Clippers 0-5 with James Harden, and I got a crazy stat for you over those 5 games, man. Plus minus is not everything, but it is something when it is this bad. James Harden is minus 70 across those 5 games when he is on the court for the LA Clippers right now. Minus 70 points across 5 games. Obviously, against the Memphis Grizzlies, he was a minus 28. That takes a big chunk of it. That was a horrible game. He was a minus 18 versus the New York Knicks, a minus 15 against Brooklyn. The other games weren't as bad. Minus 6 against Dallas, so on and so forth. Hasn't been shooting the ball terrible. Not at all, right? He hasn't been shooting too much, it doesn't feel like. Only one game with a bunch of turnovers. So what that tells me is that they're struggling defensively with him on the court as well. What are your thoughts on this Clippers team, this situation? Russell Westbrook going to the bench, is that the right move? Who do you bring in for him? Like, where are you at with the Clippers right now, man?
Well, you basically like at the Harden situation, but his numbers and whatever had the same notes. Like his plus minuses is terrible. Like you mentioned, negative 18, negative 28, negative 3, negative 6. It's just terrible. And you hit it right on the head last episode or the episode before that. He was like, yeah, James Harden name has value, in which it does. But he doesn't actually impact the game as far as winning. Like, he averaging 15 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds on 47, 37, and shooting 100% from the free throw line.
They're not bad numbers.
Yeah, they're not bad numbers, but it's not impacting winning, though.
Right.
Like, his name has value, but as far as the Russ situation, like you said, it was only a matter of time before him or Harden go to the bench. I mean, at this point in their careers, they're not the same. This is not like back in Houston. They're both at different stages of their career. So, you have to do what's best for the team. And I feel like it's the right move. But shout out to Russ for, actually doing that, doing what's best for the team. That's why I miss with Russ so much. He's just all about winning and doing what's best for the team. So,
yeah, you got to give some kudos to Russell Westbrook for just kind of taking that on the chin, right? With the Clippers, man, like, do you think it can work? Like, do you think there is a world where this works and they become this, maybe not win the championship, right? Like, that's high expectations, but maybe a top 5, like, can they get back into that standing of like a top 5 seed in the West? They're 3-7 right now. Like, they're in a little bit of a hole, but it isn't the end of the season by any means.
It's possible. It just all depends on how this goes as far as Russ coming off the bench. What can he provide, and and Kawhi and PG both stay healthy. Because Paul George has been playing phenomenal basketball. Actually, I think he's averaging 28 points a game or something along the lines of that. He's been playing great. So, just a matter of them just figuring out the right lineups that complement one another, and they should be a top 6 team. I feel like it all just depends on certain lineups that work, and that ultimately help them win games.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna come down to, man. And I don't know. It's like something in my head, like where I can't envision how Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, or James Harden, like how can they get into a rhythm with so many guys that need the ball in their hands? You can take Russ off still. That's still 3 guys that can ultimately bring up the ball, play make, create their own shot, right? Get to the rim. Maybe not Harden get into the rim, but getting his own shot, or at least wanting to take his own shot. I don't see it. And if Harden is playing like unselfish, which it feels like that's what he's trying to do right now, right? Like not taking a bunch of jump shots, not shooting the ball that much at all, really. Like there's a couple of games where only 9 attempts, 12 attempts, 15 attempts, I think is the most that he's taken in any one of those 5 games for the Clippers so far. So he's not shooting the ball, irrationally by any means. But I think with that being said, when he's not scoring the ball, what is he doing? Like, he's not a great spot up shooter. He's not great like that. They don't have a big man like Joel Embiid to run like a solid pick and roll like you would want to, and like we saw last year. So like where does this offense, where does this team go then defensively, right? Like who does he guard when you get into the thick of it in the West? And that's my worry for this team, man. I feel like Harden would probably be the better option off the bench. I feel like Russ should start, honestly, with those 2 guys and then let Harden come off the bench, be that facilitator for the second unit with Norm Powell and company, Terrence Mann. Let him get those guys going and run with them a little bit. And then you figure it out at the end of the game. Whoever's hot stays in the game, right? Like,
You hit it right on the head, but that's why I got to give a shout out to Russ, because I honestly think Harden, his pride is just too high for him. He wouldn't want to come out the bench. Like, he just feel like that'll be a downgrade at this stage of his career. But if you're all about winning, you got to do whatever it takes for this team. So that's why I gave Russ a shout out. And
you know what else? You know what else I'll say before we move on to the Sixers for a little bit here? What type of contract is James Harden going to get at the end of this season, man? Like, he obviously wants a max contract. That's not happening. Like, I don't know who would offer that to him, man. Like, what? Like,
if you do that, bro, it should be some serious questions being involved here, man.
Exactly.
But, like, with this situation with the Clippers, to be exact, I think this is Kawhi and Paul George's last run. Honestly,
yeah,
I think they blow it up after this year if they don't do anything.
I agree, man. You got Paul George and Kawhi who are due for extensions this offseason, and you just have to ask yourself, like, one, why would the Clippers want to run it back with what the results that you've had the last however many years they've had those 2 on the team? But then also them, you know what I mean? Like, why would they want to come back to this situation that just is not working? So they're gonna have to figure some shit out. Like, they're 3-7 right now. They who do they play over the next couple games? Let's take a look here.
No,
so they got the Rockets. The Rockets tonight. Rockets are 6-3. They get the Spurs 2 times in a row, but in San Antonio. Those are 2 games they need to take heavy advantage of and get those dubs. They need to get those. The Rockets tonight, man. It's in LA. LA's 7.5-point favorites. We'll make our picks later, but I don't know, man. It's not for sure, right? With the way they've been playing, I can't sit here and say like the Clippers are definitely going to win that game tonight. So you get the Rockets, Spurs 2 times in a row, Clippers, Mavs, Nuggets. Yeah, they're in the Western Conference. It's not going to get easier. Like it's just not. The teams around you are going to be better than they are in the Eastern Conference. So they got some ground to make up. They got to make it up quick, man. So yeah, I'm heavily worried about the Clippers. Not for my own concern, right? I'm not a Clippers fan, but just generally speaking, I don't think they're in a great spot. The Sixers. Let's talk about this team a little bit because they're the other side of that James Harden trade. And obviously, right now, Batum out for personal reasons. He's missed quite a few games for personal reasons. I don't know what that means. I guess it's not my business, but he gets a ton of sick days to call out of work. That shit is crazy.
Yeah.
This Oubre situation. Let me hear your thoughts on this Oubre situation from the outside looking in, because this shit is crazy to me. That one, the rumors about what actually happened versus what didn't happen. What are your thoughts outside looking in at this situation?
Well, first and foremost, did they say he got hit by a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was he riding a bike or was he just walking?
So now it came out, they TMZ grabbed a video, right, of him like going back into his apartment with like a BMX bike, which apparently I did some research. My boy Sean Barnard, he writes a bunch about the Sixers.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, yeah.
He wrote a story this summer about how Kelly Oubre is really into like trick biking or whatever you call it. Like, I don't even know what to call it. Like BMX biking type of situation. He likes to do that stuff. He's real like emo, the black, the black fingernail polish and the playing the guitar and shit. So he is a different individual, I would say. But yeah, he got hit by, the story is that he got hit by a car and he was on his bike and he ended up breaking his rib from that. Then like a side story from like these weird like Philly crime update account, some shit like that, comes out and says that he was not hit by a car, that was a made up story, and that he was actually a part of like a domestic dispute where he got beat up. So they're saying that people are saying that Kelly Oubre is trying to cover up that he got beat up or something in a domestic dispute and say that he got hit by a car. But then the video was released by TMZ showing him coming back into the house, like kind of groaning because he was in pain.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing that he had to go to the hospital after that. And that's where everything, was kind of figured out. So just a wild ass situation. It feels like some shit that only happens to the Sixers team.
Yeah, that's my exact. I was just about to say that. Like, it just seemed like it only happened to the Sixers because it's kind of confusing, man.
Like the Ben Simmons shit, like James Harden, like, you know what I mean? It's just always
just constantly, year after year, bro. Something.
It's ridiculous. But you have the Sixers now, right? No Batum, no Kelly Oubre, so the depth is a little depleted right now. They go out on Tuesday, lose the in-season tournament game to the Pacers. Not a terrible loss against the Pacers. Pacers are a good team. They score a lot of points. They ran us off the court that night, and that is what it is. They shot the ball really well. But the next night is the night that kind of bothered me against Boston. No Jaylen Brown, no Kristaps Porzingis. And they go out and they lose this game against Boston. I have a real big concern with like the lack of three-pointers that the Sixers take in any given game. I think they need to get up closer to that 40 attempt mark per game. But I'm curious, just from the outside looking in perspective, what are your thoughts on what you have seen from the Sixers of late? Not the 8-game win streak. Obviously, they were really hot at that point, but they've kind of cooled down this week. They got a big test against the Hawks tonight. Where are you at with the Sixers right now, man?
Well, I actually watched the Celtics game, and I must say, like, I think me and you actually talked about this like a month or so ago with Joel. Like, if Al Horford is guarding you, bro, you should take that as offensive. Like, you should kill this man, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, Al Horford's still a pretty, solid defender at this stage of his career. But, bro, you the MVP. Like, you can't be letting Al Horford get away with this, bro. Like, you gotta go at this man. Like, there's only so much Tyrese can do.
Yeah,
he's a young guy. He's trying to, be a consistent scorer. He's still got to learn that they're going to throw different defenses at him. Now that he's being a 25 point per game scorer and things like that. D'Anthony Melton, he's been coming along. That's a nice thing to see because Sixers fans was just giving that man a hard time to start the year. They just wanted this man to get gone. It was just crazy, but he's finally figured it out. So that's nice.
Because of like 5 games, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's an
overreactive fan base. Yeah, no, I agree with the first thing you said there specifically about Joel Embiid, and like it's not just like coming out and getting cooked by Al Horford. Mind you, it is embarrassing when he comes
Oh
out and
yeah,
does
for
that for
sure.
me
It's
as a Sixers
embarrassing.
fan. Like, it's embarrassing to see Al Horford do that. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks, 4 for 8
5
from the
blocks,
3-point
bro.
line.
5
5
blocks.
blocks for Al Horford.
Wow.
Like, acting like he's Dikembe Mutombo in this game.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
nah,
he take matchups against Joel Embiid and Giannis personal. If you ask
I
me, like,
swear he does, bro. I swear there's some extra energy that he brings into the situation against these
but my
guys.
thing is though, like, if a Sixers fan be like, well, what this was when he was on the Sixers, Al, like, what this was.
I think, and I feel like that's why he comes at us because we hated him on the Sixers.
Right.
But like, we hated you because you didn't play well. You didn't play like you
No.
play against us. Like, that's why we hated him. So
Right.
like, I don't know. He's got like some grudge against us. I know his sister Anna Horford.
Yeah,
She
she's
be
something
tweeting
else,
about
bro.
Philly all the time, man.
He
That
always
shit,
does.
that shit kills me. That shit kills me when Al Horford cooks and beat. A loss is a loss, but seeing the MVP kind of get torn apart like that, man, 20 points
Yeah,
in
like,
this game just looked totally out of it. But it's not just, the fact that Al Horford comes out and, embarrasses Embiid. It's the fact that he looks so mopey around the court, man. He's got like this sulking face, head down. You got to be a leader for your team. And that's what bothers me most about Joel Embiid, man. When he gets into those moods where he just looks uninterested. And that's exactly what he looked like on Wednesday night against the Celtics, man. So I need more from Joel Embiid as a whole. He comes out after this game, right, in the post-game interview and says, yeah, the Celtics are the best team in the league. They're
yeah,
not the best team in the league, bro, when Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown are not playing. Like, they're not. They're not the best team in the league. Even with those guys in reality, the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the league right now as we speak, right? Maybe the Celtics turn into that, but right now they're not. That team on Wednesday night was not. So it's like, I'm not trying to hear that from our MVP, our best player that didn't show up on that night. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
right.
what
Like,
would you do if Steph comes out and says that after he takes an L to like a rival?
like, it would just be kind of confusing. Like, what are you
Like,
saying, bro?
corny.
You lost one game and you're saying that they the best team in the league. Like, come on, bro. You
Like,
gotta hold yourself to a certain standard. Like,
that's what
we,
I'm saying, man.
let's say
That's what I'm saying.
we'll bounce back from it, and move on.
Absolutely. And that's what I was trying to say. We did a morning show on our Philly channel earlier today, and obviously talked about those losses to the Pacers, to the Celtics. And it's not like we're indicting Joel Embiid for the rest of the season. It's just that you got to show up against these bigger teams, these
Yeah,
bigger
for sure.
competitive games, man. You
Yeah,
got to show up in those moments. And the craziest part for me is Embiid was a minus 25 in that game, man. So if Embiid just doesn't play that night, the Sixers probably win that game. That's
yeah,
the part that kills me in that game, right? He's coming in off the second night of a back-to-back. He has a sore hip. Apparently, he was questionable for the game. If you can't give your all, then just don't step on the court that night.
yeah.
Just sit it out, rest.
That's what I was saying. Like back to backs on the second end of a back to back against an elite team like
An
Boston, it's gonna
elite
always
team.
be tough. Like
Yeah.
yeah, that was just. And then y'all played the Pacers the day before, so
They run you off the court. So
yeah,
the
it's
pace.
a lot, man. And
Yeah,
also,
it is.
Did you go to the play-in game?
I
When
did
they,
on Tuesday. I did. Yeah. It
yeah,
was
how was it?
it was dope. It was dope. Obviously they lost. It was like the first loss in the last 9 games, so that sucked that I was like there for that, but
Yeah,
overall it was dope. It was nice going out there, seeing like the red court. I know it's like a pain on the TV, but it's pretty nice in person. It's not as like bright in your face, so it was straight though. I mean, obviously want a better performance, but I did get to see Tyrese Halliburton. So
oh, okay.
him, Tyrese Maxey, those are 2 of my favorite guards in the NBA, obviously. And to see him come out, have a great game like he had on that Tuesday night, it was a pleasure to see, even though it's against my squad. So I'll be back out there. I'll get some videos and stuff, and maybe one of these times we'll have to connect for a game or something, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have to do that in person. But it came out today that the Sixers are favorites to land Alex Caruso. It's like plus 250 that the Sixers go out and trade for him. it feels like they need a guard. Do you feel like Alex Caruso is enough for this Sixers team to like legitimately jump into that contender type of tier with the Celtics? Eventually, I imagine the Bucks will get there, the Denver Nuggets. I imagine the Warriors will get there once they get healthy, right? Teams like that that are going to be there at the end. Do you think that a guy like Alex Caruso is enough, or do you think that they should shoot for the stars like Zach LaVine, something like that?
Man, it's a great question, actually. With Caruso, he impacts winning in so many different ways. Such an excellent defender. But one question for you as a Sixers fan: if
Yeah.
you had to choose, would you trade D'Anthony Melton for Caruso?
It's tough, man, because if you asked me that question probably 2 games ago, I'd probably say hell yeah. But like he's
Yeah.
coming off what 9 for 12 shooting from the 3-point line
Yeah.
the last 2 games. So it makes it tough. I'm trying to look up Caruso's numbers right now.
But with Caruso, like he would definitely improve y'all team more so than anything. Like he could definitely be our backup one. You know, you play him
Yeah,
over Pat Bev, and he can
yeah,
close games for y'all and things like that. I like what I've been saying from Jaden Springer. Actually, I feel like he should definitely get more minutes moving forward.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I like that you called
but
that
at the
out
same
too.
time, like if Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan comes available, whoever, you have to actually ask yourself, like, how would a backcourt of Zach LaVine and Tyrese Maxey look? On
Yeah,
paper, it looked great, but
yeah,
how would it actually look? Because Zach LaVine, like
defensively.
besides scoring, what else do he provides? Like,
Right, right.
yeah,
And the thing that scares me with Zach LaVine is the idea that you probably have to trade Tobias, right? Like to make the money
yeah,
work somehow.
yeah,
And
make
then
his salary work.
is it just Tobias or is it Tobias plus 2 firsts and then Tobias plus Rocco and 2 first? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how far does it go? And then when I look at Zach LaVine, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how much Bulls basketball you watch, how much Zach LaVine basketball you watch. I don't watch a ton of it, but when I do watch, there's nights where he is scorching hot. He can drop 50 on you. But then there's nights where he does do a little disappearing and bad shooting, right? So that's what worries me is that we would just get like another version of Tobias Harris, but in a guard format.
yeah,
Like that's my worry, right? Tobias in the playoffs, known for shrinking. He had 2 points in a game 6 in Philadelphia against the Celtics last year, right?
yeah,
I don't want that type of shit on my team anymore. Like if I'm getting rid of Tobias, I don't want to bring somebody back on a longer contract that
right.
does similar things. So that's my biggest worry.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Caruso? Caruso's interesting. So he's shooting 44.8% from the 3-point line right now. Only 3 attempts, but a lot better than Patrick Beverly, for example.
Yeah,
D'Anthony man, he's 6'5" too. I almost feel like he would be a more consistent player than D'Anthony Melton.
that's a good point.
Think D'Anthony has the higher ceiling, like he can hit higher peaks, but
Yeah,
I feel like Caruso, if he's not, say, shooting the ball well on a given night, one, he doesn't take that many shots. He's not trying to go out there and jack up shots. And then 2, he's going to play defense. He's going to
yeah.
rebound. He's going to get out on the fast break. He's
Playmate.
going to play make.
He's
So,
a veteran. He's a champion. So
yeah, that's true too. He's got the experience, man.
yeah, y'all definitely
That's
should make a
interesting.
run for him or probably OG and a newbie.
Yeah, OG is honestly that is like the prized possession for me. I feel like a dream return would be something like Alex Caruso and an OG Anunoby, something like that, right? If you can get Caruso for minimal compensation, maybe a couple second round picks and maybe a player, right, with an expiring contract, and then go and trade your haul for OG Anunoby, a couple firsts and whatever they want in return for him. So that would be like the dream scenario. Malcolm Brogdon's another guy like
Yeah,
Marcus Smart. I don't know if the Grizzlies will actually be selling at any point, but Marcus Smart's a guy
yeah,
I would
yeah.
like them to
Michael
check
Brogdon
on.
be nice for y'all too.
Yeah, yeah. He would be perfect for that 6-man role. Like if we could keep
Yeah,
Melton
absolutely.
and then just bring Brogdon off the bench somehow. I don't know.
50,
I
40,
feel like
90
if
type
we
stuff.
do trade for somebody like that or a Caruso, I feel like they could want Melton in return though.
Yeah,
But then that makes me wonder, could Jaden Springer take Melton's minutes and then you just add, you know what I mean? Like, not starter minutes, but could he take that bench spot and then move a guy like Caruso into the starting lineup? I don't know. It's an interesting thought. They got a lot of options. The Sixers are in a decent spot. They need to get back in the win column tonight against Atlanta. But yeah, it's been a rough 2 games, a rough week so far, I would say. Let's take a look at the rookies right now. We'll do this quickly. I want to get to the game picks. Get us out of here within an hour. I know we get going and we just keep it going, but I'll try to get you out of here in a timely manner, my man. Looking at the rookies right now around the league, I have a list of 10 rookies that are kind of at the tops of the rankings right now statistically. Of course, if you have any guys you want to mention, definitely share your thoughts. First things first, I do want to start with the top 2 and get your opinion on them. You got to see Chet Holmgren firsthand last night, right, against the Warriors. If you've had a chance to watch any of Wembanyama, who do you think has been better so far between those two? Who would you want to build around if you had to pick one right
now? I would probably go with Chet, and this is no knock on Wemby. Like Wemby, he's a special talent. He's shown that. But it's a little point like he was going to come into the league averaging like crazy numbers all across the boards, and he's only averaging like 19, not shooting the ball particularly well, but he's rebounding it, he's blocking shots, he's playmaking, so I'm not taking no knock on him, but I just have to go with Chet. Like Chet, I got a stat actually. Chet Holmgren is the first player in NBA history to shoot 50, 40, 90 and average 2 point plus blocks over the first 12 games of his career. That's quite impressive.
Yeah. The efficiency, man. That's I see what you're getting at. The 50, 40, 90 club is hard to get into.
Be a big man to be exact. And while averaging 2 blocks.
Yeah, 2 blocks. So he's doing it on the defensive end. He's rebounding the ball decently as a stretch 4, right? Like gets about 7 to 8 rebounds a game, 2 blocks. Averaging close to 16 points. So he's right there. He's right up there with Wembanyama in those statistics. But then also, fairly efficient. And mind you, me just hearing the hype of Wemby coming into the draft, I would have probably told you at the beginning of the season that I would take Wemby to build around. And there's no wrong answer in this question, right? Like I truly don't believe that there is, but you see Chet on a decently winning team, a talented team, and he's finding his role and he's fitting in pretty well. I like that as well when it contributes to winning. So I kind of lean Chet right now as well. Do you think he's a rookie of the year right now?
I would have to say so, and more so from the standpoint if you look at the team success, like
that's what I was
5th seed right now, 6th seed.
Yeah, 8-4 right now with Chet Holmgren.
8-4, and then the Spurs, they're not even in the conversation right now. So you have to, take that into consideration as well. Even though it's different roles, we talk about the efficiency, but Wemby is shooting way more shots than Chet is. So he's a number 1 option, and Chet is like the 3rd, maybe 4th option. So you can look at it from that standpoint as well. But I would have to lean towards Chet to win Rookie of the Year.
I like it. I actually agree with you. That contribution to winning means a lot to me for all awards, honestly. If you're doing it on a losing team, then what's the matter? Like James Harden. You know what I mean? Like you can do it on a losing team, you can have the production and it cannot contribute to winning. So I do like that point. Some other rookies I want to point out here. You have the Asar Thompson up in Detroit. He's cooking right now, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 3 close to 4 assists. He's a do-it-all type of guy. Him and his brother. I mean, both of those dudes can hoop. Amon is just he's injured right now, so he can't do much for Houston. But both of these guys, I think, are going to be pretty good players, man.
Well, sure. He averaging like 2 blocks a game, right?
Asar?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's averaging that too. I wouldn't be surprised because I got to watch him against the Sixers last Friday, and man,
like
he impressed the hell out of me.
He get after it on the defensive end, man. Like 10 rebounds, like you said, to be a wing in his league, averaging 2 rebounds,
1.9 blocks per game, 1.3 steals per game, man. So he's covering all the bases. He's just got to get that 3-point shot together. He's 4 for 27 on the season from 3-point. He's young though, right? You got to get the stroke right in the game. It takes some time for some guys, but when you can do everything else at the rate that he's doing that right now, you don't truly need it as of yet. But I'm sure that's something to watch for his development. Hawkins from the New Orleans Pelicans right now. He's been hooping.
He's been great.
Without CJ McCollum there's a lot of opportunity for him to keep doing his thing. He's averaging close to 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 37% from the 3-point line. So he's balling out.
Yeah, he's been great.
Derek Lively down in Dallas. I really like what he's doing for Luka as a center, kind of controlling that paint. Brandon Miller out in Charlotte, close to 13 points per game, 4 rebounds. You mentioned Jaquez. How do you say his name? Do you know how to say his name for real?
From what I heard, the commentators they said like Jamie Jaquez.
Jamie Jaquez, okay. Because I was sitting here calling him Jaime or some shit. So
yeah,
I was butchering that shit.
Yeah, Jamie Jaquez.
He's been contributing too, and that's a good Heat squad that went to the finals last year. So I really like how he's kind of just fitting in perfect for them.
Picked the right guy for sure.
Absolutely, he fits the Heat culture too. That's the weirdest part of it. Keontae George down in Utah, another guy, 8 points per game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists per game. He's doing really well.
He's pretty nice. I like him playing the point guard for them.
Yeah, they got a nice future down there in Utah if they can just keep building and putting the right pieces around everybody. Koulibaly out of Washington Wizards. This is a guy that Patrick Beverly, I listened to his pod. He talked a lot about him after playing the Wizards, said he was really impressed with this guy defensively, just kind of his impact on the game. He can impact it in a lot of ways. 8 points, 4 rebounds for him per game. Marcus Sasser from the Detroit Pistons as well, 9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Crazy thing about the Pistons, man, Jaden Ivey falling out of the rotation.
Wait, I thought he was injured.
From what I've heard, let me just double check here.
Yeah,
because from what I've heard, apparently he has like some. The reports are saying that he has like some attitude problems.
Yeah, because I think he wanted to be in the starting lineup, and Monty Williams decided to go with Killian Hayes. But Killian Hayes has been playing pretty good though.
He's been balling. Yeah, I actually like what I saw.
I know last season he had like the worst field goal percentage on so many shot attempts or something like that.
Yeah, so I think you're right. So he was coming off the bench for the longest. The last time he played was on the 14th. So that was just a few days ago. He played 21 minutes. So I shouldn't say falling out of the rotation. I apologize. That was the incorrect term. But falling out of the starting lineup, not getting as many opportunities as he was granted in his rookie season. And it's becoming a bother, it seems like. It seems like it's frustrating him coming off the bench. That's just fairly interesting. He was one of the most talented guys coming out last year. So I'm just
the Pistons have a decision to make though, because Killian Hayes, he was a lottery pick, but how long are you going to keep him out of it?
Yeah.
And now you got, as you mentioned, Marcus Sasser. That's 3 guards. You're gonna have to make a tough decision because everybody's not going to play.
Yeah, and you got Cade Cunningham, who is the centerpiece, right? You're going to build around him as a guard. So yeah, man, you're right. They got a lot of options there. Let me ask you this before we get to the game picks. It's an interesting segment that we did on our Philly morning show this morning, but I want to get an outside perspective. I want to gravitate back to Tyrese Maxey, and we called this segment "Would You Rather?" So I have 10 guards here that I want you to tell me, would you rather have this guard or Tyrese Maxey? And I just find it interesting. That's why I want to ask you. I know you're not prepared for this. It's kind of, out of nowhere, just something I thought of through the show here. But no worries either way. This isn't like a test or anything. Let me start at the top of my list here. So I got Trae Young right now, right? He's the first one on my list here. And I'll give you their numbers too, just to be fair. So right now, Tyrese Maxey's averaging about 27 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, only 1 turnover per game, shooting 48% from the field, 43% from the 3-point line, right? Trae Young right now averaging about 24 points per game, 11 assists per game, only shooting 35% from the field and 28% from the three-point line. Today, right now, which one of these guards would you rather have on your team?
I gotta go with Maxey. Like that's kind of a no-brainer to me. Like I like Trae Young. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of his game, but like you mentioned, bro, he called himself a superstar, but you shooting like 35% from the field, bro.
That can't
That's
happen.
terrible. And then you say you shooting 28% from three-point range.
Yeah, that's
That's
supposed to be his
terrible.
strong suit.
Yeah, like and then you said Tyrese Maxey averaging a block.
Yeah, he's averaging a block
Oh
per game,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I gotta go with Tyrese on that.
I agree with you. Nonetheless, I agree. I think Tyrese Maxey, like you said, like you kind of insinuated there, better defender, quicker, bigger build too. That's kind of part of it for me as well. Let's go to the next one. Dame Lillard. You know his struggles this season. I'm not going to read his numbers to you. You know what
Yeah,
Dame
yeah.
Lillard is right now and what he has been. But right now, in this moment in time, who are you taking, Dame Lillard or Tyrese Maxey?
At this day and time, right now, I probably have to go with Max. I mean, Max, he been the hot man. Like Damian Lillard had a great game against the Raptors a few days
He
ago, but
did. Yeah,
Tyrese
he
Maxey
did.
been, he been consistent. He just had a 50-piece last Saturday, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing
Yeah.
with Maxey that I'm realizing this season, like he had the 20-point game versus Boston. It wasn't great shooting. And it's like, if that's his floor, that's really good. You know what I mean? Like I came out of the game that I went to on Tuesday against the Pacers. He finished with 27 points, right? Like that's not a bad night by any means. He didn't shoot the ball great, only took 5 3-pointers. Those were my complaints. But like if that's his floor, then his ceiling's crazy. Like that's where I'm at with Maxey. This is going to be a tough one for you. I already know. Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh boy.
20 close to 25 points per game, 12 and a half assists per game, 4 rebounds, and 53% from the field, 43% from the three-point line.
It's tough for sure.
That was tough.
I
I'll
was
let you
just
know I went with Halliburton. I did go with Halliburton in this
yeah.
case.
I was talking to my guys like a few days ago. I said, bro, like Tyrese had 34 assists in 2 games and 0 turnovers, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's just unreal. Like
Yeah.
who does that? And then another thing about Tyrese that stands out, like his IQ is insane, but he also can score the ball at an efficient rate. And on the
Yeah.
defensive end, he's pretty solid. So I might
Yeah.
have to get Tyrese. I might take Tyrese on that one.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree with you, man. Halliburton. The big thing for me too is like size. Halliburton's 6'5", like as a point guard. That's a big advantage in my opinion. So
Oh yeah.
I went with Halliburton as well. Jalen Brunson.
Ooh. Wow.
He's averaging 23 points per game, about four and a half assists per game. He's shooting close to 46% from the 3-point line, though. Takes a little bit less volume than Maxey, but still, it's a pretty efficient rate.
I think I'm gonna go with Max in that one though.
Yeah, I went with Maxey as well on that one. I think Brunson's great,
Yeah,
but
he's
I
a
just
great
think
player.
Maxey's a little more talented, honestly, and I think they have like similar work ethics. So I do like Maxey overall in that case as well. I'll skip this one. I feel like for me, I think it's obvious, but it was a little tough on the show. I'll skip that one. Jamal Murray.
Right now, as of right now.
Right now, but like keep in mind he just won an NBA championship. That type of right now. You know what I mean? Like I know
Yeah.
it right now it's easy to say Maxey, but knowing what Jamal Murray does when he gets to the playoffs, keep that in mind.
But Jamal Murray, he did it with an injury right now, so it's really not fair to
Yeah.
compare. And then Max
Yeah.
averaging like 27 a game, so I'm gonna go with Murray. Just off the screen, he won a championship, and I had him
Yeah.
being an All-Star this year, but he's dealing with injury right now. So
Yeah, that's what I said too. Like until Maxey does it in the playoffs, and maybe this isn't fair to some of the other guys, right? That we've talked about, but until Maxey does this in the playoffs where he can average 26 points per game, 7 assists per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 47% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, 93% from the free throw line. Until Maxey can have a line like that in the postseason and help, just get the Sixers out of the second round, not even a championship, right? Jamal Murray did that last postseason on his way to an NBA championship. Until Maxey can give me some type of experience like that, I think I have to go with Jamal Murray, although the injuries are a concern, I would say. What about LaMelo Ball?
I'm gonna go with Tyrese. LaMelo, I thought he would have been better from a number standpoint. He's not shooting the ball very well, and he's been kind of inconsistent. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyrese.
This is the last one I'll throw to you. This one's really hard. I'll give you a precursor to that. De'Aaron Fox, man.
I gotta go with
Let me give you his numbers. Only 5 games played, so he's been on and off with a little bit of an injury this year, but played last night, or the night before, excuse me. 5 games played, 30 points per game, 49% from the field, 36% from the three-point line, 4 rebounds, 6 assists per game, and 2 steals per game for De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Fox. I'm a little biased because he's one of my favorite players in the league. But
okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I went with Fox too. When I first went into it, I was like, I'm gonna go with Maxey. I think long term, maybe I would go with Maxey just potential wise, but Fox 25 right now, one of the most clutch players in the NBA. I had to give the nod to Fox. Just for where he's at specifically right now. Maxey only 23, he's 2 years behind, and maybe he looks better than him at age 25, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. So I went with Fox as well. So I just wanted to get the perspective. So you picked the same players as me as far as who you would take over Tyrese Maxey. So I can appreciate that. Moving into the games tonight, we'll get through these quickly. I know I said 45 minutes to you before the show, and here we are, hour. Let's go quickly through these games tonight and make some pick selections. I'll throw it to you first. We got the Bucks visiting the Charlotte Hornets. Bucks -7.5. I assume you're gonna go with the Bucks in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucks on that one.
I feel you. They need the win too, right? They got to put together a nice little win streak to just get back where they're supposed to be. What about the Knicks visiting the Wizards tonight? Knicks 6.5-point favorites.
I feel like the Knicks will pull this one up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. 76ers in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. Atlanta -1.5 on the line right now.
Is it any key players that's out for y'all? Well, I know Oubre out, and you said Nicholas Batum, but anybody else?
Batum is out, Oubre is out, and Embiid is a game-time decision with the hip soreness.
The Hawks have been pretty good, though. I cannot lie.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go to Sixers. I feel like they can bounce back from Wednesday night.
They need a bounce back. I'm hoping they win as well. We got the Pistons visiting the Cavs. Cleveland 9.5-point favorite.
I'm gonna go to Cavs. Evan Mobley, he's been finally getting into a groove, so yeah, I'm gonna go with them. Oh, and Cass LeVert has been amazing coming off the bench.
Yeah. I think he's averaging close to like 20 points per game right now.
Yeah, he averages like 19 a game.
Yeah, he's balling. So yeah, Cleveland needs a W tonight too. They're 5-6. They need to get over 500. I had them locked in as a top like 5 team in the East. They still can become that. The season's far from over, but they got to get it going. I'll go with the Cavs in that one as well. Got the Celtics visiting the Raptors. Celtics 9-2. Raptors 5-6.
Celtics should pull this one up.
Yeah, I agree. Even up in Toronto. Got the Kings taking on the Spurs in San Antonio. I think the Kings come out with a dub.
Yeah, the Kings. I got them coming out.
Yeah,
they just had an impressive win over the Lakers. So Sabonis had like a triple-double. He had 1 assist away against the Lakers. So
yeah, he was cooking. I saw that against matched up with AD too. That's a good feat. Magic and Bulls. That's an interesting one. That's actually a close one.
I'm over the Bulls, man. Like the Magic. Yeah, they should just blow that up as quick as possible, bro. Like,
I completely agree with you. It's funny you said that. I completely agree.
It doesn't matter what team they play. I'm picking the other team, man.
I swear I'm operating like that too, man. I swear that's where I'm at with the Bulls, bro. Even if they have a chance. The Denver Nuggets at the New Orleans Pelicans. Looks like Jose Alvarado, game time decision. Trey Murphy out. Larry Nance out. I believe CJ McCollum is still out with that collapsed lung. Jamal Murray out for the Denver Nuggets. Who you going with this one? In this one,
You said Denver at New Orleans?
Denver at New Orleans. Yeah, the Pelicans.
Man, I think the Nuggets may pull this one out for sure.
Yeah, I did pick the Nuggets as well. There is part of me that feels like the Pelicans need a win and like the Nuggets have to lose at some point. So I could see it, but I would still lean the Nuggets in that one. Got the Suns taking on the Jazz. I'm trying to see if Devin Booker is playing tonight.
Bradley Beal
like
just
Bradley Beal's
I got notification out for 3 weeks. So
interesting. So a new injury for Bradley Beal.
At least 3 more weeks. He's lower back strain.
That's crazy. So the Suns visiting the Jazz. No Bradley Beal. Who you got in this one?
The Suns definitely should win. If they don't, then I don't know, bro.
They should. I'm trying to see what Devin Booker has been on of late.
I think he averages like close to 30 points a game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 31 points per game. He's only played 3 games, it looks like, but still 31, 31, and 32 on efficient shooting in all of them for the most part. Devin Booker, man, that dude is a hooper, bro. If he could just get healthy, they're gonna be dangerous as hell. Yeah, I'll go with the Suns in that one as well. Lakers and Trailblazers in Portland.
Lakers for sure.
Yeah, they need the dub.
If they lose, I don't know.
Rockets at Clippers tonight. Do the Clippers get their first dub with James Harden in the lineup?
I will say this. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I feel like Russ coming off the bench will help them.
Maybe spark
them.
But
if they lose, it's going to be like the Bulls. Whatever team they play, I'm just going to pick the other team, man. So,
You fed up with the Clippers already, man.
Yeah.
I feel you, man. I do feel.
I feel they be going through.
Yeah, I feel weird about this game, man. I feel like the Rockets are going to win, but I will go with the Clippers just because they need to win a game. Like, they need a win.
Yes,
so they better come out and play desperate tonight is what I would say. But that is going to be it for this episode of Scotty Talks NBA. Thank you, as always, to my co-host Slim here. You can find him at RTR30111 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call that app. You can find myself at Scotty Drown. Be sure to give DSM Media a follow at DSM_media. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, go into the description of this video, find the link to Slim's podcast, To the Galaxy Pod, and give him a subscription. Check out some of his videos, some of his content, because if you like my content, I'm sure you're going to love his. So be sure to check that page out, give it a subscription. And of course, subscribe to Scotty Talks NBA. Give this video a like to help out the algorithm, help us build this community, guys. But thank you once again, Slim, for joining me on the show. Thank you to everybody that tunes in. And enjoy the Friday slate. It's a big one, man. Peace, everybody.
We out.